Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for February 9th. February 9th is the 40th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 325 days remaining to the end of the year, except for leap years, when there are 326 days remaining to the end of the year. Today's word is adduce. Adduce is a verb that means to cite as evidence, to offer as example, reason, or proof in discussion or analysis, as in adduce evidence in support of a theory. Example sentences might be, the team was able to adduce several compelling arguments for why the policy should be changed. Or, health officials adduced statistics showing the rise in disease rates in the community. Or, the lawyer aimed to adduce strong evidence to support his client's innocence in the court case. Cite as evidence is what adduce means. Adduce goes back to a Latin word that meant to lead, and of course, as so many words have done, adduce made its way to us from Latin through Middle English and Anglo-French. Other words from that Latin word are induce, deduce, and reduce. First known use of the word adduce is in the 1400s. Adduce. Today's word adduce was suggested by YouTube viewer at DJ Alexer. Thanks, DJ. And remember, if you have a word you'd like us to examine in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments. We'll take a look at it. And with that, some sources give February 9th in the year 474 as the date that a man named Zeno was crowned co-emperor of the Byzantine Empire. He was co-emperor as regent with his 7-year-old son, Leo II, who had been appointed successor to his grandfather Leo I, who had recently died. This is the birthday of 9th President of the United States, William Henry Harrison, born February 9th, 1773. When elected, he was the oldest person elected to the presidency up to that point, being 68 years old, a record that he held until Ronald Reagan was elected in 1981 at 69 plus. William Henry Harrison gave the longest inaugural speech on record at 1 hour and 45 minutes. Unfortunately, it was a very cold day when he did that, and he caught a cold, which developed into pneumonia, and so he served the shortest term on record when he died of pneumonia 31 days into his presidency, making him the first president to die in office. A brief constitutional crisis ensued as they tried to figure out whether the vice president would merely execute the duties of a vacant office or actually assume the office. And finally, he was the last president born as a British subject in the 13 colonies before the start of the Revolutionary War. William Henry Harrison. Back during World War I, Congress had enacted the 1918 Standard Time Act, which defined standard time zones and daylight saving time in the United States. The idea behind this was to conserve fuel and enable the country to better utilize resources. The act was discontinued nationally after the war, but some states continued to spring forward and fall back with their clocks. On February 9, 1942, year-round daylight saving time, also known as wartime, was reinstated in the United States as a wartime measure to help conserve energy resources. It was repealed at the end of September 1945. Then in 1966, Congress passed legislation called the Uniform Time Act, which standardized daylight saving time and stands to this day. On February 9, 1950, Senator Joseph McCarthy claimed to have a list with the names of over 200 members of the Department of State who were known communists. He waved a piece of paper around when he said this. In subsequent weeks, he would repeat that claim, but the number of the claims on the list varied every time he said it. 57, 81, 10. But McCarthy never produced any solid evidence that there was even one communist in the State Department. On February 9, 1960, the beautiful and talented Joanne Woodward earned the very first star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. For reference, there are now over 2,000 stars along the Walk of Fame. On February 9th, 1965, the United States sent its first combat troops to South Vietnam. If you're curious to see what I might have talked about in a previous year for February 9th, I'll leave a link for you, just in case you'd like to check that out. Today's song is Stagger Lee by Lloyd Price, number 1 on February 9th, 1959. This is an old, popular American folk song about an actual event involving a couple of rivals, Stagger Lee and Billy, who got into a dispute over a poker game. Stagger Lee shot Billy, and that's about as far as the song goes, but I'll tell you that Billy didn't survive. Stagger Lee was subsequently convicted of murder and sent to prison. The song Stagger Lee was first published in 1911, first recorded in 1923. To give you an idea of how old it is. Versions of Stagger Lee have been recorded dozens of times by artists since it first came out, but today we're talking about the version by Lloyd Price, which begins the first of 4 weeks in the number 1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100, February 9th, 1959. Link in the description. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include a link to my blog page that's called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. This is the birthday.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you. Me and my mouth. John, are you kidding me? Okay, hold on. We got to make that be quiet. You got to read the black part. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for, where's your microphone? Okay, we don't want to say the same thing twice. Get your microphone. What is it with you and this microphone? Okay, here we go. Okay, we are still recording. That's great. Okay. How about that? We'll have a lot to edit today. Cacophony is a sound. Cacophony is a noun that you got to read it the right way. Let's start over. It's 8 o'clock, so all of the reminders are going to be dinging. I forgot to turn those off. Okay, stop it. It's 8 o'clock. Don't alienate people who can be helpful to you. Flinging happiness all over the place. Alrighty, back to work. I think we got it this time.